welcome to the developer's log. My name is Dan, and I've been working on a game called Late for Work, and this is it. So to start with, I'm gonna give it a quick playthrough so you can see what it looks like. Right, so there we have it. Quick game, but it's all about obviously getting to work. So I'm going to go through some of the main scripts and then explain the reasons behind them. So to start with, we shall have a look at the introduction with all the sounds. So over here we have my sound script. So we've got all our audio function, or all our audio variables. We also have a counter, so we can go for the time scale. So to start with, we're going to set the time scale to 1. And then every update we're going to add the time scale from in-game into the counter. So then from every counter, I've set it so the audio clip will be activated and it will activate the sound clip. So every on the 5th second, on the 6th second, the 10th, 15th, so on and so on. So within Unity we've got my introduction here, and we have all the sounds, and at the moment all of the sounds are deactivated apart from the alarm, because that's when it starts. So we start off with the alarm going off, and then 5 seconds activates the slap, 6 seconds activates the yawn, and so on and so on. So that's the introduction. Next we can move on to the player. So in the introduction script, I have the player variable, and at 16 seconds the player is activated, and at 18 seconds the minimap is activated. So when it reaches 16 seconds, the player is activated. But right now we'll just turn the player on. So the player consists of the body of the car, which is the box collider. We have a rigid body, and we have the move script, and we also have another collision body. We have a trigger for when the player hits the finish point. So to begin with, we'll have a look at the character script. So the move character script, we have a center of mass for the for the whole car. We have a layer mask, so when the car has a raycast, it's looking down at the ground, the car will be able to move forward. We have a speed float, we have a rotation float, we have a camera distance to stay behind the car, we have a camera height to stay above the car, and we have the angle of the camera so it's looking downwards at the car. So we collect the transform, and we've collected the rigid body for the car, and the distance for the raycast to go downwards. So to start with, we set the time scale. Oops. We set the time scale of the scene to 1. We assign an M transform to a transform. We select the rigid body to the rigid body of the car, and we set the rigid body to the center of mass on the car. For the updates, we have the camera's position is a vector 3 to keeps it at distance, as well as the rotation, and we keep it so so when the car turns, the camera isn't snapped to the car. It will slowly rotate around with it, so it's smooth. So for the fixed update, we have the raycast to check if all the wheels are on the ground. If the car is on the ground, we'll be able to add force to it. So if the rigid body is above 0.7, the player will be able to reverse, and the player will be able to go forward. And I've done this just by adding torque to the car. And we can allow the player to turn, this one. So the player will be able to rotate, and I've done it so the rotation speed is opposite. So rather than when you reverse, if you turn left, the car will turn right, going backwards, and so on. And then to go forward, I've got an add force with the speed variable at the start, and if we're reversing on the controller, the axis is halved, so the player's speed will half when they're reversing, so they won't be going as quick as forward. And then we have a void trigger when the player hits a NOS bottle. The character is increased by 10 times the speed, just for an added boost. So next we've got NPC characters. So if I just move over here, we have an NPC character. So in this NPC character, we have the box collider, we have a rigid body, we have a car sound, and we also have the character's the character's path following script. So with this path following script, I have set four waypoints for the player to drive to. So the player will start, the NPC will start here, will drive to point 1, then to point 2, then to point 3, then to point 4, and then back to point 1 again. So with this script, we have an array of the path, so we have all of the nodes, all the elements within the script. We've got speed, we've got a reach distance, so this is how far away from the node the NPC is before it activates, and the current point that the car is at. So to start with, we set the speed of the car, and I've done a random.range, so all the cars will be different speeds at every time the player plays the game, so it adds a slight variation of replayability. So to start with, we have the distance from the player's path and the player's position, and we also have the speed that the player is going. the position of the car moves towards the position in the next point in the array, or the position in the point in the array, and the transform.look at the position of the current point that the car is moving to. So if the distance is less than the distance of the car is less than the distance with the reach, the current point goes up by 1, which means the car will look at the next point within the array. And if the car is at point 4 and the path has reached the end, then the current point will go back to 0, which means it will go back to the start, and then it will look at point 1 again. And then we just have a draw gizmo selection, so to allow me in the editor to see where we are going. And other than that, the only other main script would be the finish point, where the player arrives at the end, which activates the end scene. And that's all the main sections within this game. Thank you for watching, and I hope you come back soon.